20. Discontinued sodas. We want back. Ever wonder what happened to those wild, colorful sodas from your childhood? The soda world is packed with forgotten flavors, some bold, some bizarre, all unforgettable. In this video, we're cracking open the vault on the discontinued soft drinks we wish would make a comeback. Get ready for a fizzy trip down memory lane. Patio Diet Cola, 1963. Back in 1963, Pepsi stepped into the world of diet sodas with a refreshing new drink called Patio Diet Cola. Just hearing the name brings back images of lawn chairs, sunny afternoons, and sipping something cool under the shade of a big umbrella. Patio wasn't just Pepsi's answer to the rising demand for low-calorie sodas. It was their very first diet drink. But it didn't stick around long. Just a year later, Pepsi decided to drop the Patio name and rebrand it as Diet Pepsi, which went on to become a household staple. But Patio wasn't just about cola. It also came in other fun, fruity flavors like grape, orange, and even root beer, something that really set it apart from other early diet sodas. It was light, bubbly, and full of flavor at a time when most diet drinks tasted like cardboard. If the name sounds familiar, it might be because you saw it pop up in Mad Men, where Don Draper pitched it as a client. That little moment on TV reminded us of a brand that once tried to make diet soda feel fun and stylish. Honestly, with today's love for retro and zero-calorie drinks, Patio might actually crush it if it came back. 7-Up Gold, 1987. In 1987, 7-Up took a sharp turn from its usual lemon-lime identity and introduced a bold, new creation, 7-Up Gold. This wasn't your typical clear and citrusy 7-Up. It was amber-colored, spiced, and packed with flavor. The taste was something totally unexpected. A hint of ginger, a dash of apple, and a warm touch of cinnamon. It was like someone bottled the flavor of autumn and gave it a bubbly twist. Interestingly, the drink wasn't actually based on any original 7-Up formula. It was a leftover concept from Dr. Pepper that the company decided to dust off and give new life. What made it even more confusing was its slogan, "Never had it, never will," a nod to 7-Up's historic stance against caffeine. But here's the twist. 7-Up Gold actually had caffeine. That little detail left some fans scratching their heads and might have contributed to the soda's short-lived run. Despite the mixed messaging, 7-Up Gold was unique. It was warm, spicy, and unlike anything else on the market at the time. With today's love for nostalgic and bold flavors, there's definitely a case to be made for bringing this golden oddball back into the spotlight. Pepsi Light, 1975. Back in 1975, Pepsi decided to shake things up in the diet soda world with a new twist called Pepsi Light. Unlike regular diet colas, this one had a splash of lemon citrus flavor mixed in. That little zing of tartness gave it a fresh, crisp taste that stood out from the crowd. It was light, it was lively, and it hit the shelves just as fitness culture was booming. Picture it. You've just finished an aerobics class, sweatband still on, and you reach for an ice-cold Pepsi Light. It felt like the perfect reward for staying healthy without sacrificing taste. The lemon wasn't just for flavor. It helped cover up that weird artificial sweetener aftertaste common in diet drinks of the time. And it worked. People actually liked drinking it. But in the 1980s, Pepsi made a move that puzzled fans. They took out the lemon flavor. Without that citrusy kick, Pepsi Light lost its charm. Sales fizzled, and the soda eventually vanished from store shelves. Worms, 1970s. Now here's one that'll make you do a double take. Worms Soda. Yep, that was the actual name of a real cherry-flavored soda that came out sometime in the 1970s. It might sound more like a Halloween prank than a beverage, but rest assured, there were no creepy crawlies in the bottle. Just a bold, sweet cherry flavor tucked behind one of the weirdest names in soda history. The name Worms likely wasn't picked at random. Around that time, the children's book, How to Eat Fried Worms, had become a hit, stirring the imaginations and stomachs of kids everywhere. Brands were starting to realize that if you could get kids laughing, even cringing a little, you could also get them to buy. So naming a soda Worms might have seemed like a fun, rebellious idea, a way to stand out on a crowded shelf. Fast forward to today, and we've got sodas that taste like ranch dressing, buttered popcorn, and even grass. In a world where strange is trendy, Worms might actually be ahead of its time. Bring back the cherry fizz, slap that weird name on the label, and let nostalgia and curiosity do the rest. Quirst, late 70s, early 80s. In the late 1970s and early 80s, a bright and zesty soda hit the shelves with one of the most fun names in soft drink history, Quirst. That name alone was enough to stick in your head, and the ad jingle made sure of it. Whenever I want to quench my thirst, I feel like a Quirst. Catchy, quirky, and just a little bit silly, it perfectly captured the vibe of the era. Quirst was a lemonade-flavored soda that tried to bridge the gap between sweet and tangy. It wasn't just another lemon-lime drink. It was bold, bubbly, and refreshingly tart, like a fizzy burst of summer in every sip. It aimed to be the go-to soda for people who wanted something lighter and more citrusy than traditional colas. Sadly, despite its memorable name and peppy commercials, Quirst didn't last long. It faded away before it ever had the chance to build a loyal fan base. But those who remember it often recall it with a smile, mostly because of that unforgettable name. With today's retro revivals and the popularity of citrus sodas, Quirst might just have a second chance. If nothing else, who wouldn't want to order a Quirst just to say it out loud again? What was your go-to soda as a kid that no one seems to remember today? Rondo, late 70s, early 80s. If you were around in the late 70s or early 80s, you might remember a bold citrus soda that didn't just quench your thirst, it crushed it. That drink was Rondo. With its eye-catching slogan and in-your-face marketing, Rondo set itself apart from other soft drinks by promising not just refreshment, but total domination over thirst. Its ads bragged that it was lightly carbonated, so you could slam it down fast, no fizz getting in the way of your gulp. That was part of its appeal, raw, fast, and full of flavor. Rondo's citrus taste was sharp and intense, more aggressive than your typical lemon-lime soda. And it wasn't just the flavor that made it stand out, it was the attitude. Rondo leaned hard into masculine branding, with action-packed commercials that seemed to dare you to drink it. The brand even offered a diet version in a green can, keeping the edge while cutting the calories. Though Rondo didn't last long, its legacy lived on. That tough guy, thrill-seeker vibe later helped pave the way for brands like Mountain Dew, with its do-the-do extreme sports style. Rondo was ahead of its time, and honestly, it might be ready for a comeback. Aspen, Nitin Satito, till Nitin Otito. Between 1978 and 1982, Pepsi gave the world something totally different in the soda aisle, a crisp, apple-flavored drink called Aspen. Unlike the usual cola or citrus options, Aspen delivered a clean, refreshing apple snap that felt like biting into a cold Granny Smith on a snowy day. It wasn't overly sweet or syrupy. It had that cool, tart edge that made it stand out. The commercials leaned into a kind of alpine fantasy. Picture a cozy ski lodge, snowy peaks outside the window, and someone popping open a frosty can of Aspen. It was all about that cool mountain vibe, with the drink being pitched as the perfect après-ski refreshment. Whether or not you actually skied, the idea of sipping an apple soda by the fire had a certain charm. Even though Aspen only lasted a few short years, it made a lasting impression. It was one of the few sodas at the time that dared to go with apple, and fans have never forgotten it. In fact, People still talk about it online, hoping Pepsi will bring it back. In a world now full of craft sodas and unique flavors, Aspen's crisp apple kick might just be what today's nostalgic soda lovers are craving. Hubba Bubba Soda, 1987. In 1987, the Wrigley Company, best known for its chewing gum, took a bold leap into the soda world with Hubba Bubba Soda. And yes, it tasted exactly like it sounds, pure fizzy bubblegum in a can. It was colorful, sugary, and clearly aimed straight at kids who couldn't get enough of that classic pink gum flavor. If you grew up in the 80s, just hearing the name might bring back memories of neon clothes, arcade games, and sticky fingers. The drink was essentially liquid nostalgia, capturing the joy of popping a fresh piece of gum, but in a way that made it feel even more exciting. It was the kind of soda that you begged your parents for at the corner store or spotted at a birthday party and immediately made a beeline for. Surprisingly, Wrigley even released a diet version of Hubba Bubba. But let's be honest, most kids took one look at the word diet and moved on. This was a drink meant to be fun, not functional. Hubba Bubba Soda didn't stick around long, but its strange, candy-inspired charm still lives on in people's memories. In a world filled with odd soda flavors today, this one might just be due for a sweet comeback. Crystal Pepsi, 1992 to 1994. In 1992, Pepsi made a bold move and launched Crystal Pepsi, a clear cola that was supposed to completely change the way we thought about soda. No caramel color, no traditional cola look, just a transparent, caffeine-free Pepsi that promised a cleaner, purer taste. It looked like water, but had that familiar cola flavor, and Pepsi backed it with a high-energy marketing campaign featuring Van Halen's hit song, Right Now. The idea was to give soda a futuristic makeover. At the time, consumers were leaning into clean eating, and Pepsi wanted to ride that wave. Crystal Pepsi was positioned as modern, healthy, and forward-thinking. A cola for the new generation. The ads were intense, flashy, and hard to miss. But once people actually tasted it, many were left confused. It looked like Sprite, but tasted like a soft version of Pepsi, and that unexpected experience didn't win over the masses. Despite the hype, it quietly fizzled out and was discontinued in 1994. Still, Crystal Pepsi gained cult status. It made a short-lived comeback in the 2010s, mostly for nostalgic fans who remembered it from their youth, and even though it didn't stick around, it remains one of the most iconic soda experiments of the 90s. Coca-Cola Clear, 2018. In 2018, Coca-Cola took a page from Pepsi's playbook and introduced a surprising new twist, Coca-Cola Clear. This bold experiment wasn't launched in the US, but rather in select international markets like Japan, China, Australia, Taiwan, Singapore, and Malaysia. At first glance, it looked nothing like the classic Coke we all know, completely transparent, with no trace of that familiar caramel coloring. But the taste? It was like a diet cola with a splash of lemon, giving it a light and zesty kick. Coca-Cola Clear was part of a growing trend in Japan and parts of Asia, where unusual soda flavors and clear drinks have long had a loyal following. The idea was to give consumers a refreshing alternative that still carried the Coca-Cola name, but with a futuristic, calorie-conscious edge. It didn't taste exactly like Coke, but it carried enough of the brand's DNA to spark curiosity. Despite its popularity in these regions, Coca-Cola Clear never made its way to shelves in North America or Europe. That's what makes it feel like a missed opportunity, especially now, with global audiences craving unique, retro, and low-calorie sodas. Clear sodas may be a niche market, but Coca-Cola Clear proved that sometimes transparency can be pretty exciting. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, don't hesitate to hit the like button below. If there's anything we can improve, take a moment to leave a comment. We're always looking to get better. Thanks so much. Tab 1963 sampai 2020. If you grew up in the 1960s or 70s, chances are you remember Tab. It wasn't just a soda, it was a lifestyle. Introduced in 1963 by the Coca-Cola Company, Tab was one of the very first diet sodas on the market. With its sleek, futuristic branding and bold pink cans, Tab quickly became a cultural icon, especially among women looking for a low-calorie drink that didn't skimp on flavor. It stood out not only for its taste, but for its distinct, almost medicinal edge. Thanks to the saccharin-based sweetener that gave it a unique flavor profile you either loved or hated. Throughout the 60s and 70s, Tab was the diet drink of choice. Coca-Cola kept tweaking its design to keep it fresh, and it remained wildly popular despite the rising tide of competitors. But everything changed in the 1980s when Coca-Cola introduced Diet Coke. It was smoother, better marketed, and quickly became the preferred diet option for the masses. Still, Tab held on, quietly surviving in select stores and maintaining a loyal fan base for decades. That loyalty lasted all the way until 2020, when Coca-Cola finally discontinued it for good. Donald Duck soft drinks, 1940s to 1950s. Back in the 1940s and 50s, kids had a magical way to beat the heat: Donald Duck soft drinks. Produced by General Beverages, this soda line was straight from the golden age of Disney, bringing colorful bottles and fun flavors right into the hands of children. With Donald's animated face proudly displayed on each label, these sodas weren't just tasty, they felt like a treat from the world of cartoons. This wasn't just one soda either. The lineup was impressive, with flavors like lemon lime, orange, grape, black cherry, strawberry, cola, root beer, and even ginger ale. Each one was made to appeal to younger taste buds, offering a bubbly, sweet burst of fun that turned an ordinary afternoon into something special. The branding was spot on, lighthearted, playful, and instantly recognizable. And for a while, Donald Duck soft drinks were a staple at birthday parties, picnics, and corner stores across the country. But by the late 1950s, the line fizzled out and disappeared from shelves. Still, the nostalgia remains strong. In today's world of retro reboots and Disney collectibles, a revival of Donald Duck soft drinks feels like a no-brainer. Allen's Grape Soda, 1991, Canada only. In 1991, Canadians got a sweet, fizzy treat that made soda lovers everywhere just a little jealous: Allen's Grape Soda. This purple, sugary delight was packed with bold grape flavor and came in fun, collectible cans featuring characters from The Simpsons who were just hitting peak popularity at the time. It was the perfect mix of pop culture and pop soda, a match made in marketing heaven. But here's the thing: this soda never made it beyond Canada's borders. While American and international fans were going crazy over The Simpsons, only Canadians got to enjoy Bart and Lisa staring back at them from a cold can of grape soda. And it wasn't just about the characters. Allen's nailed the flavor. It had that rich, sweet grape taste that somehow managed to be both nostalgic and refreshing at the same time. For a limited edition drink, it made a big splash, then vanished almost as quickly as it arrived. But even today, fans still talk about it online, wishing for another chance to pop open a can. So why did the rest of the world miss out? Who knows? But with nostalgic sodas and cartoon tie-ins back in style, the time feels right for Allen's Grape Soda to make a global comeback. Orbitz, 1997 to 1998. In 1997, a drink hit store shelves that looked more like a science experiment than a soda: Orbitz. This futuristic-looking beverage was unlike anything people had seen before. It was non-carbonated, fruit-flavored, and filled with brightly colored gelatin balls that floated inside the bottle like something out of a lava lamp. Just holding it, Felt like you were part of some high-tech outer space adventure. Orbitz came in wild flavor combos with even wilder names like pineapple, banana, cherry, coconut, and raspberry citrus. But no matter which flavor you grabbed, the real star of the show was the texture. Those floating balls, suspended in a thick, syrupy liquid, were meant to give you a fun, drinkable experience that was both visual and tactile. But here's the thing. While Orbitz looked amazing, the texture threw a lot of people off. The gelatin beads felt odd going down, and the lack of carbonation left it tasting a little flat. Despite the hype, Orbitz was pulled from shelves just a year later in 1998. Still, it became a cult classic. Collectors still hunt for unopened bottles, and fans remember it as one of the boldest soda experiments of the 90s. Snapple Clear Root Beer, 1983 to late 80s. Most folks know Snapple for its fruity teas and juices, but back in 1983, they took a wild swing with something totally different, Snapple Clear Root Beer. That's right, root beer. But with a twist. It looked like water but tasted just like the classic root beer you'd expect from an old-fashioned soda fountain. The idea was to give you all the flavor without the dark color, and it definitely turned heads. This crystal clear drink was part of a short-lived trend in the 80s, where transparency was seen as modern, clean, and somehow better for you. Clear sodas were all the rage for a brief moment, and Snapple jumped into the game with a root beer that looked nothing like what you were used to. But don't be fooled by its appearance. One sip delivered that familiar sweet, spicy kick of root beer, just without the caramel coloring. Despite its novelty, Snapple Clear Root Beer didn't catch on in a big way. It quietly disappeared from shelves by the late 80s, making it a forgotten gem of soda history. Did we miss a soda you still think about? Tell us your favorite forgotten flavor. Flintstones soft drinks, 1980s to 1990s. Yabba Dabba Doo. If you were a kid in the 1980s or 90s, there's a good chance you remember the Flintstones soft drinks, a colorful, character-driven line of sodas that brought bedrock to the beverage aisle. These fun and fizzy drinks weren't just about taste. They were all about personality. Each member of the Flintstone gang had their own custom flavor, and it made every sip feel like an adventure. Fred brought the bold with pterodactyl punch, while Wilma kept things zesty with saber-tooth orange. Dino, the lovable dino dog, had Bubble Rock bubblegum, a candy-like treat that kids couldn't resist. Pebbles brought the sass with Gravelberry Gray, a mysterious, fruity mix. Barney offered a citrusy kick with Lemon Rock Lemon. Betty rocked a cola twist with Stegosaurus Cola, and Bam Bam powered up with Brontosaurus Blue Raspberry, a hit among blue soda lovers. The packaging was just as playful, with bright colors and cartoon artwork that made it feel like the whole Flintstones crew was chilling in your fridge. For kids, it wasn't just soda, it was a prehistoric party in a can. Sadly, the line fizzled out by the late 90s, but with all things retro making a comeback, maybe it's time for Bedrock's finest to stomp back onto store shelves. Sprite Remix, 2002 to 2005. In the early 2000s, Coca-Cola gave Sprite a bold new twist with a line called Sprite Remix. Launched in 2002, this series of clear, caffeine-free sodas was all about tropical vibes, fruity flavors, and a fresh take on the classic lemon-lime base. It was fun, flashy, and aimed squarely at a younger crowd looking for something new and exciting to sip on. Sprite Remix kicked off with Tropical Remix, a bright blend that added island-inspired fruit flavors to the familiar Sprite fizz. Then came Berry Clear Remix, which leaned into a smooth berry flavor while keeping the soda completely clear. Finally, Aruba Jam joined the lineup, bringing a sweet, exotic punch that felt like a beach vacation in a bottle. The marketing was high energy, colorful, and everywhere, from school vending machines to late-night commercials with booming bass lines. For a moment, Sprite Remix was the drink of the moment, but despite its popularity, it didn't last. The line quietly disappeared by 2005. Coca-Cola has tried reviving it a few times, but the reboots never quite captured the original spark. Mountain Dew Code Red. When Mountain Dew Code Red hit the shelves in 2001, it wasn't just another flavor, it was a bold statement. With its vibrant red color and intense cherry citrus blend, Code Red took the original Mountain Dew and gave it a high-voltage twist that instantly caught the attention of a younger, thrill-seeking crowd. It wasn't just about flavor, it was attitude in a bottle. From the beginning, Code Red was marketed as extreme, edgy, and made for the kind of people who played video games all night and lived on the edge by day. Its commercials featured fast-paced action, bold fonts, and the kind of adrenaline-fueled energy that defined early 2000s pop culture. The flavor was sweeter, fruitier, and more intense than regular Dew, but still carried that signature citrus kick fans loved. While some limited-run sodas disappeared quickly, Code Red proved it had real staying power. It developed a loyal fan base and even inspired other Mountain Dew spin-offs. Over the years, its availability has come and gone in different regions, but the demand never really faded. Pepsi Blue. In 2002, Pepsi took a daring leap into uncharted soda territory with the launch of Pepsi Blue. This wasn't your average cola. It was a wild, electric blue drink with a sweet, berry-infused twist. Designed to grab attention and stand out on the shelves, Pepsi Blue was all about turning heads and shaking up expectations. It looked like a slushie, tasted like a candy shop, and felt like the future. Marketed heavily to teens and young adults, Pepsi Blue came out during a time when bold colors, new flavors, and edgy branding were all the rage. It had the same adventurous spirit as Sprite Remix, hoping to create the next big soda sensation. The flavor? A sugary blend of berry with a cola base. Some loved it, some didn't know what to make of it. But one thing was certain, it was unforgettable. Despite the hype, it didn't last long. By 2004, it quietly vanished from stores, but fans never forgot it. So strong was the nostalgia that Pepsi brought it back for a limited time in 2021, sparking a wave of excitement among soda lovers who remembered it from their childhood. Pepsi Blue was loud, sweet, and one of a kind, and for many, it still holds a special place in soda history. Dr. Pepper Berries and Cream. In 2006, Dr. Pepper Berries and Cream hit the market with a quirky twist that only Dr. Pepper could pull off. A blend of fruity sweetness and smooth creaminess layered over the soda's already complex 23 flavors. It was rich, bold, and a little weird in the best way possible. The flavor wasn't just berry, it was berries and cream, offering a soft, dessert-like finish that stood out from the typical soda aisle lineup. The drink arrived during a wave of soda experimentation, alongside other bold releases like Sprite Remix and Pepsi Blue. It was clear that companies were chasing younger, adventurous drinkers who wanted more than the usual cola or citrus flavor. And while Dr. Pepper Berries and Cream didn't last long, it left a lasting impression. Its taste was unique, almost like a creamy fruit float in a can, and it carved out a small but passionate fan base. The marketing matched the eccentric flavor with offbeat commercials that leaned into the soda's playful personality. It wasn't for everyone, but those who got it really loved it. Though it disappeared after a short run, the drink made a few surprise comebacks, proving that the craving for something a little unusual and a little nostalgic never truly fades. 20 forgotten department stores that are no longer around. Remember Woolworth's lunch counters or Ames's big sales? Once beloved, these department stores are now just memories. What happened? In this video, we're uncovering the rise and fall of 20 forgotten department stores, the icons, the innovations, and why they vanished. Let's dive in. Hecht's. Hecht's was once a retail powerhouse along the East Coast, especially in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. What started as a modest shop in 1857 grew into one of the most recognizable department store chains in the region. By the mid-20th century, Hecht's flagship locations were sprawling, multi-story destinations that offered everything from high-end fashion to home goods, making them a go-to shopping experience for generations of customers. But Hecht's wasn't just another department store, it was a trailblazer. It was among the first to introduce revolving credit accounts, making shopping more convenient for customers at a time when cash was king. The company also played a key role in shaping modern retail by helping bring department stores to suburban shopping malls, changing how and where people shopped. Despite its innovation and deep roots, Hecht's couldn't withstand the wave of retail mergers in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. It was eventually acquired by the May Department Stores Company, which itself was later taken over by Macy's in 2006. Montgomery Ward. Montgomery Ward was, in many ways, the Amazon of its time. Founded in 1872, it revolutionized shopping by introducing the first-ever mail-order catalog. At a time when most Americans had to rely on local general stores with limited stock, Montgomery Ward brought an entire marketplace to their doorstep. Picture this: a thick catalog filled with over 10,000 items arriving in the mail. Furniture, clothing, tools, even entire house kits, delivered straight to customers, no matter how remote their location. By the early 20th century, Montgomery Ward expanded beyond mail order and opened physical stores across the country. Its catalog, famously called the Wish Book, became a staple in American households. Families would flip through the pages, dreaming of the latest fashions, home goods, and toys. During the Great Depression, the company stepped up to help struggling farmers, offering affordable equipment to keep small farms afloat. When World War II arrived, Montgomery Ward played its part by supplying essential goods for the war effort. But no retail empire lasts forever. By the 1980s, competition from rivals like Sears, combined with the explosive growth of shopping malls, chipped away at Montgomery Ward's dominance. Struggling to adapt, the company slowly declined, eventually shutting down for good in 2001. Woolworths. Founded in 1879, it became one of the most recognizable retail chains in the world, built on the idea that everyday items should be affordable for everyone. This five and dime model made it the go-to place for just about anything: school supplies, toys, candy, and even pet goldfish. It was the kind of store where you could walk in for a quick errand and walk out with a little bit of everything. And then there were the famous lunch counters. In an era before fast food dominated the landscape, Woolworth's counters were the perfect spot to grab a sandwich and a soda while out shopping. But beyond being a convenient place for a quick bite, those counters became a powerful symbol of change. In 1960, the Woolworths in Greensboro, North Carolina, was the site of a historic sit-in by 4 black college students protesting segregation. Their peaceful demonstration ignited a wave of similar protests across the country, marking a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. Despite its incredible history and reach, at its height, Woolworths had over 2,000 stores worldwide. The retail landscape shifted in the 1980s. Big box retailers like Walmart and Target offered lower prices and greater convenience, making Woolworth's business model outdated. Struggling to compete, the once dominant chain shut its doors for good in 1997. Ames. Founded in 1958 in Massachusetts, it built its reputation by serving small towns and rural communities, places often overlooked by big-name retailers. Unlike upscale department stores, Ames wasn't about glitz and glamour. It was practical, affordable, and dependable, offering a wide range of merchandise, from clothing and home goods to toys and tools. At its peak in the 1990s, Ames operated more than 700 stores across the eastern half of the U.S., and bargain hunters loved it for its deep clearance sales. One of Ames's strategies was taking over locations abandoned by other struggling chains, keeping retail spaces alive in towns where shopping options were limited. This made it a go-to store for small communities that didn't have access to bigger competitors like Walmart or Target. However, Ames's success was overshadowed by financial struggles. In an effort to expand, the company acquired several failing retailers, including Zayre, which left it overextended and burdened with debt. At the same time, Walmart and Target were aggressively growing, offering lower prices and more modern shopping experiences. Ames simply couldn't keep up. After years of mismanagement and mounting financial losses, the chain filed for bankruptcy and shut down completely in 2002. How do you think shopping today compares to the experience of these classic department stores? Do you miss anything about the old way of shopping? Hills. Founded in 1957 in Canton, Massachusetts, Hills built its reputation on quality products at budget-friendly prices. It wasn't a high-end retailer, but that's exactly what made it so popular. Shoppers didn't go to Hills for luxury. They went because they could find everything they needed at prices that didn't break the bank. One of Hills's biggest draws was its toy section, an absolute paradise for kids. Walking through those aisles, filled with the latest action figures, dolls, and board games, was an experience many still remember fondly. And for parents. The real highlight was Hill's famous snack bar. Whether it was a soft pretzel, a hot dog, or the store's legendary popcorn, no trip to Hill's was complete without a quick bite. It was a simple touch, but it created a welcoming, family-friendly atmosphere that kept shoppers coming back. Hill's also stood out for its commitment to everyday low prices, ensuring that customers didn't have to wait for sales to get a good deal. But despite its popularity, the retail world was changing. In the mid-1990s, Hills was acquired by Ames, a move that, unfortunately, didn't save either chain. Ames was already struggling, and by the early 2000s, both Hills and Ames had vanished. Zayre. Zayre was a no-frills discount department store that thrived during the booming retail era of the 1960s and 70s. Founded in 1956, it became a go-to destination for shoppers looking for everyday essentials at bargain prices. Unlike upscale department stores with elaborate displays and high-end service, Zayre focused on affordability and convenience, offering a straightforward shopping experience where customers could find what they needed without spending a fortune. One of Zayre's biggest draws was its clearance and markdown sections, which became legendary among bargain hunters. Shoppers never knew what kind of deals they might stumble upon, making each visit feel like a treasure hunt. The chain expanded aggressively, particularly in the Midwest and along the East Coast, and by the 1980s, Zayre had grown to hundreds of locations, firmly establishing itself as a leader in the discount retail space. By 1988, the company made a major pivot, selling off its department store operations to Ames and shifting its focus to a more promising venture, the off-price retail market. This move led to the creation of TJX companies, the powerhouse behind TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods. Burdeen's. Founded in 1898 in the small town of Bartow, it started as a modest dry goods shop, but over the decades, it transformed into a retail powerhouse known as the Florida Store. By the mid-20th century, Burdeen's had become synonymous with the Sunshine State, offering a shopping experience that embraced Florida's tropical lifestyle. What made Burdeen's truly special was its deep connection to the local culture. Unlike national chains that stocked generic merchandise, Burdeen's tailored its selection to Florida's warm weather, selling lightweight fabrics, resort wear, and beach essentials year-round. Walking past a Burdeen's storefront felt like stepping into a Florida vacation, Its vibrant, tropical-themed window displays were legendary, capturing the essence of the state's colorful, laid-back spirit. The holiday season brought an extra touch of magic. The Miami flagship store, in particular, became a major attraction, drawing crowds with its elaborate decorations and festive atmosphere. But as retail consolidation swept through the industry in the 1990s, Bourdain's independence faded. It was absorbed by Federated Department Stores, the parent company of Macy's, and by 2005, the beloved Florida brand disappeared completely, rebranded under the Macy's name. Gimbals. Founded in 1842, it grew into one of the biggest names in American shopping, built on the promise that Gimbals has it, and they really did. Whether customers were looking for high-end fashion or everyday essentials, they could find it inside Gimbals' massive flagship store in New York City, which became a landmark in itself. But what really set Gimbals apart wasn't just what they sold, it was the way they did business. Unlike other stores of its time, Gimbals was all about making quality goods accessible to everyday shoppers, offering competitive prices without sacrificing selection. The company also played a major role in holiday traditions, launching its own Thanksgiving Day parade in the 1920s, an event that later became world famous when Macy's took it over. Of course, no conversation about Gimbals is complete without mentioning its legendary rivalry with Macy's. The two department store giants competed so fiercely that the phrase, "Does Macy's tell Gimbals?" became a popular saying, symbolizing cutthroat business secrecy. But even a retail powerhouse isn't immune to changing times. By the 1980s, as shopping habits evolved and malls took over, Gimbals struggled to keep up. Unable to modernize fast enough, the once mighty chain shut its doors for good in 1986. Do you have a special memory from one of these stores? Maybe a holiday tradition, a favorite snack bar treat, or a great bargain? Please leave your answer in the comments below. Marshall Field's. Founded in 1852 in Chicago, it wasn't merely a place to shop. It was an experience. From the moment customers walked through the doors, they were met with an unmatched level of service, a reflection of the store's legendary philosophy. Give the lady what she wants. This commitment to customer satisfaction set Marshall Field's apart, making it a beloved destination for generations. The flagship store on State Street was a marvel. Spanning multiple floors and adorned with opulent architecture, it was a true retail palace. But Field's didn't just look elegant. It was a pioneer in department store innovation. In 1881, it became the first to introduce an in-store restaurant, the Walnut Room, offering shoppers a refined dining experience beneath its stunning crystal chandelier. The store also revolutionized the shopping world by launching the first-ever bridal registry, a concept that's now a standard in the industry. For decades, Marshall Field's defined Chicago's retail scene, but a wave of ownership changes in the late 20th century signaled the beginning of the end. In 2005, Macy's acquired the brand, and by 2006, the iconic name disappeared, replaced by Macy's signage. Caldor. Caldor was a beloved discount department store that once dominated the Northeast, offering shoppers an affordable alternative to high-end retailers. Founded in 1951, it quickly became a household name, known for its wide selection, competitive prices, and convenient locations. Families across the region relied on Caldor for everything from clothing and home goods to toys and electronics, making it a one-stop shop for budget-conscious consumers. One of Caldor's biggest innovations was its self-service shopping model, which was ahead of its time. Unlike traditional department stores, where clerks retrieved merchandise for customers, Caldor allowed shoppers to browse and select items themselves, an approach that later became the norm in retail. The stores were spacious, well-stocked, and designed for easy navigation, which made the shopping experience more efficient and appealing. For decades, Caldor thrived, expanding throughout the Northeast and cementing itself as a regional retail powerhouse. But as the 1990s brought increased competition from national giants like Walmart and Target, Caldor found it harder to keep up. Struggling under financial pressure, the company filed for bankruptcy in 1995, hoping to restructure. However, it couldn't recover, and by 1999, all Caldor stores had closed. Stewart's. Founded in 1907, it catered to a more upscale clientele, offering a refined shopping experience that set it apart from larger, more commercialized chains. While it never reached the massive scale of its competitors, Stewart's thrived by focusing on quality over quantity, earning a devoted customer base that appreciated its attention to detail and exceptional service. One of Stewart's most cherished traditions was its beautifully designed window displays, particularly during the holiday season. These elaborate, artistic arrangements turned the store's exterior into a festive attraction, drawing crowds who admired the intricate decorations even if they weren't shopping. Inside, Stewart's maintained a sense of sophistication, with well-curated selections of high-end fashion, home goods, and accessories that appealed to those looking for a touch of luxury. By the 1970s, Stewart's was sold off and gradually absorbed into other retail operations, marking the end of an era for Baltimore shoppers who had once considered it their go-to store for elegance and style. Rich's. Rich's wasn't just a department store, it was a Southern institution that shaped the shopping experience in Atlanta for generations. Founded in 1867, it grew from a small dry goods shop into one of the most iconic retail chains in the South, offering high-end fashion, home furnishings, and impeccable customer service. The flagship store in downtown Atlanta wasn't just a place to shop, it was a landmark, a destination that held a special place in the hearts of locals. Rich's was particularly known for its magical holiday traditions. The Great Tree Lighting Ceremony, held annually on the store's rooftop, became a must-see event that signaled the start of the Christmas season. Families also flocked to ride the Pink Pig, a beloved children's attraction that added to the store's festive charm. These traditions made Rich's more than just a retailer. It was woven into Atlanta's cultural fabric. Beyond its elegance and traditions, Rich's had a deep commitment to the community. It was known for extending credit to struggling families during difficult times, showing a level of care and loyalty that went beyond business. However, as retail giants expanded and department store consolidations swept the industry, Rich's began to struggle in the 1990s. It was eventually absorbed by Federated Department Stores, and by 2005, the Rich's name disappeared, with all locations rebranded as Macy's. Which store do you wish was still around today, and why? Gottschalk's. Founded in 1904, it started as a single shop, but gradually grew into a major regional retailer, known for offering a little bit of everything: fashion, home goods, and cosmetics, all with a personal, community-driven touch. Unlike national chains that focused on big cities, Gottschalk's thrived in smaller towns and suburban areas, filling a niche where larger retailers didn't always reach. This commitment to small-town America was part of its charm. Shopping at Gottschalk's wasn't just about finding what you needed. It was about friendly, personal service, where employees knew regular customers by name. Its clothing selection was another defining feature, offering moderately priced, stylish fashion that catered to families looking for quality without luxury price tags. However, as retail competition intensified, Gottschalk's struggled to keep up with big-box stores and national discounters. The rise of online shopping and large-scale retail giants like Macy's and Walmart put increasing pressure on the chain. Despite its loyal following, Gottschalk's couldn't overcome financial difficulties and filed for bankruptcy in 2009, closing all remaining stores. Bullock's. Founded in 1907, Bullock's quickly became known for its elegance, high-end fashion, and impeccable service. It wasn't just a place to shop, it was an experience. The original flagship store was a masterpiece of architecture, setting the standard for department store grandeur. Perhaps the most famous location was Bullock's Wilshire, an Art Deco gem that opened in 1929. This wasn't just another retail space, it was a glamorous, cutting-edge shopping destination designed for Hollywood's elite. It was one of the first department stores to cater to customers arriving by automobile, offering valet parking, a feature unheard of at the time. Inside, shoppers were treated to a refined, almost theatrical experience, with luxury boutiques, private fitting rooms, and even an upscale tea room. Bullock's prided itself on exclusivity, carrying designer labels and high fashion that weren't available anywhere else. It was a place where celebrities and socialites shopped, making it synonymous with LA's golden era of retail. But as the department store landscape shifted in the 1980s and 1990s, corporate consolidations changed everything. Bullock's was eventually acquired by Federated Department Stores, which later merged with Macy's. And by the mid-1990s, the iconic Bullock's name was retired. Lazarus. Lazarus wasn't just a department store, it was an institution in the Midwest, deeply woven into the history of Ohio. Founded in 1851 in Columbus as a small men's clothing store, it grew into one of the most trusted and innovative retailers in the country. For generations, families turned to Lazarus for quality fashion, home goods, and a shopping experience that felt both personal and grand. Lazarus was more than just a place to buy clothes. It was a pioneer in modern retail. It introduced air conditioning and escalators to department stores long before they became standard. It was also one of the first to offer in-store credit cards, making shopping more convenient for everyday customers. But perhaps its biggest innovation was the money-back guarantee, a now common practice that Lazarus helped popularize, forever changing how customers approached shopping. Beyond innovation, Lazarus was known for creating magical experiences, especially during the holidays. Its Christmas window displays were legendary, drawing families downtown year after year to admire the festive, beautifully crafted scenes. The store's attention to detail and commitment to customer service made it a cornerstone of Midwestern shopping culture. However, like many regional department stores, Lazarus faced growing challenges in the 1990s as national chains expanded. Federated Department Stores, which owned Lazarus, eventually merged its regional brands under the Macy's name as part of a corporate consolidation strategy. By 2005, the Lazarus name disappeared, replaced by Macy's signage. Elder Beerman. Founded in 1883 in Dayton, Ohio, it started as a modest dry goods store, but gradually expanded, becoming a trusted name in affordable yet stylish shopping. Unlike large national chains, Elder Beerman had a hometown feel, with stores often located in smaller cities and suburban areas, making it a go-to destination for communities that didn't always have access to big-name retailers. What set Elder Beerman apart was its strong connection to local shoppers. It struck the perfect balance between quality and affordability, offering fashionable clothing, home essentials, and beauty products at prices that felt accessible. Customers didn't just see it as a department store. It was a familiar and reliable part of their town's shopping scene. However, like many regional department stores, Elder Beerman struggled as retail trends shifted. The rise of big-box competitors and online shopping put immense pressure on traditional department stores, and despite its loyal customer base, Elder Beerman couldn't escape financial troubles. The company declared bankruptcy multiple times, attempting to restructure, but ultimately, it wasn't enough. In 2018, Elder Beerman closed its doors for good, marking the end of an era for many Midwestern shoppers. Though the stores are gone, Elder Bierman is fondly remembered as a place where shopping felt personal, local, and part of everyday life. Gold Circle. Gold Circle was a discount department store favorite, a go-to shopping destination for families across the Midwest and Northeast during the 1970s and 1980s. Founded in 1967, it quickly made a name for itself by offering trendy, quality merchandise at budget-friendly prices. Unlike some discount stores of the era, Gold Circle prided itself on a clean, organized shopping experience with large, easy-to-navigate layouts that made finding bargains simple and fun. One of the things that set Gold Circle apart was its embrace of technology. It was an early adopter of computerized checkouts, streamlining the shopping experience and making checkout lines faster, something that was still a novelty in many stores at the time. Its seasonal sales were legendary, drawing crowds eager to snag deals on clothing, home essentials, and holiday gifts. Shopping at Gold Circle wasn't just about saving money. It had a lively, welcoming atmosphere that made it a favorite among budget-conscious shoppers. However, as the retail landscape changed, Gold Circle faced growing competition from emerging discount giants like Walmart and Kmart. Federated Department Stores, its parent company, began shifting its focus, and, as financial pressures mounted, the decision was made to shutter Gold Circle stores by 1988. Mervyn's. Mervyn's was the ultimate destination for shoppers looking for stylish, affordable clothing without the frills of high-end department stores. Founded in 1949 in San Lorenzo, California, it carved out a strong niche among middle-class families by offering great deals on fashion, home goods, and accessories. Unlike upscale retailers, Mervyn's had a laid-back, no-fuss atmosphere. Walking into one of its stores felt casual and comfortable, making it an easy go-to for budget-conscious shoppers. One of Mervyn's biggest draws was its legendary Super Saturday sales. These events became a tradition for bargain hunters, with deep discounts that kept customers coming back weekend after weekend. The brand's ability to blend affordability with trendy selections made it a favorite in suburban shopping centers across the West and Southwest. In 1978, Mervyn's was acquired by Target, which owned and expanded the brand for over a decade. But as the retail landscape changed in the early 2000s, Mervyn's struggled to keep up. Competition from big box giants like Walmart and Kohl's, combined with financial missteps and shifting ownership, put the company in a downward spiral. By 2008, after years of declining sales and failed turnaround attempts, Mervyn's filed for bankruptcy and shut its doors for good. Bonton. Founded in 1898 as a small dry goods store, it steadily grew into a regional retail staple, known for offering reliable fashion, home goods, and everyday essentials at affordable prices. Unlike high-end department stores that focused on luxury, Bonton built its reputation on practicality, appealing to budget-conscious families who loved a good deal. Sales and promotions were a huge part of what kept customers coming back. Bonton's weekly coupons and frequent markdowns made shopping feel like a treasure hunt, but nothing was bigger than its semi-annual Goodwill sale. This event encouraged customers to donate gently used clothing in exchange for discounts, making it one of the first department stores to integrate charitable giving with retail promotions, a tradition that many shoppers still remember fondly. For much of its history, Bonton remained a family-run business, but as retail trends shifted, the company struggled to keep up with big box stores and the rise of online shopping. Despite several attempts to restructure and modernize, Bonton couldn't regain its footing. In 2018, after years of financial difficulties, the company filed for bankruptcy and closed its remaining stores. Hudson's. Founded in 1881, it grew into a retail empire, with its flagship location becoming a symbol of the city's prosperity. At one point, Hudson's downtown Detroit store was the tallest department store in the world, standing as a monument to the golden age of shopping. But Hudson's was more than just a place to buy clothes or home goods. It was an experience. Walking through its grand halls, browsing floors filled with everything from fashion to furniture, felt like an event in itself. Beyond its massive scale, Hudson's played a major role in Detroit's economy and culture. Its annual Dollar Days sales were legendary, drawing in shoppers from across the Midwest, eager to score deals on everything from clothing to housewares. The store was also home to the world's largest in-store book department at one point, proving that Hudson's wasn't just about selling goods, it was about offering something for everyone. But like many downtown retailers, Hudson's struggled to adapt to the rise of suburban malls. As shoppers flocked to newer, more convenient locations outside the city, the flagship store saw declining foot traffic. By the 1980s, Hudson's was absorbed into the Dayton-Hudson Corporation, the company that would later become Target. The flagship store shut its doors in 1983, and by 1990, the Hudson's name disappeared altogether. The soda world never stops evolving, but some flavors truly deserved more time on the shelf. From fruity blasts to fizzy blasts from the past, these forgotten favorites still leave us thirsty for more. Which one do you miss most? Drop your favorites in the comments. And as always, thanks for taking this nostalgic sip with us.